Hello and welcome to this video tutorial which looks at the most awesome feature in RapidPlan 3.0, that is the integrated base maps. While there's plenty of other changes, and I'd suggest watching all the videos in the RapidPlan 3.0 series, if you only have time to see one thing, then it should definitely be the base maps. We will be covering how the plan drawing canvas can now be fully mapped onto a specific ground location, how to use the base maps, aerials import and roads import tool that are all based on this. Within the next few minutes, you will learn how to quickly produce a simple map-based plan like this one, and some more advanced usage as well. Okay, let's get started by creating a new base maps plan using the new plan wizard. A base map plan is one of the 4 basic options in the new plan wizard. All the other options here will be discussed in a separate tutorial covering the details of the wizard, so for now I'll go straight into the next page where you specify the properties of the new plan. In order to display any maps, we obviously need to know what area the plan covers and at what scale. So for a base map plan, you have to specify plan scale and location. I'll stick to the default 1 to 500 scale and then scroll down to the map control, which is being used to specify the location of the planned works. The way this control works is you first type in the city or street name in the search box here, then you can zoom and pan the control so that the little red cross in the middle points at the location you want. The search box accepts latitude and longitude as well, and I have the coordinates of a specific junction in Washington DC, so I'll just paste them in here. As you can see, it's a fairly big motorway junction. I don't have to be ultra specific with the location setting, as my drawing canvas will cover all the area around as well. But still, it's a good idea to be fairly precise so that then the plan is easy to find when you're later browsing plans by location. Okay, once I have the scale and the location set, I can now create the plan. When you first create a base map plan, you will see a pop-up with basic instructions on how to use the base map. I'll be talking about these things anyway, so I'll just close it. But when you start using base maps in your RapidPlan, make sure you take the time to read the instructions here. Base map visibility can be toggled with the toolbar icon here. And when it is visible, it basically shows a satellite preview of the plan location you specified. The map adjusts as you scroll or zoom the drawing canvas. As you might already know, the canvas in 3.0 is unrestricted, so if you're like me and you like browsing satellite maps, you can scroll around as much as you want. If you ever get lost while doing this and you don't know where you started, you can always use this scroll to origin button, which takes you back to the plan origin. One important thing to note is that you can select between several map providers. I'm currently using ArcGIS World, which I know has high resolution coverage around Washington DC, but in your specific location you might want to try switching between Microsoft's Bing and ArcGIS to see which one of them has the better images. They both also come in the hybrid version, which includes a layer with road names and other annotations. The OmniScale provider is just a plain map, which is sometimes useful as well, but we'll talk about this later on in this video. In future RapidPlan releases, we are planning to add in more map provider options so that more and more places are covered with high resolution imagery as it becomes available. For now, let me switch back to ArcGIS and we can start drawing the traffic control plan. So for our sample plan, let's assume we're planning short-term shoulder works on the exit lane here. I'll use the work area tool to mark the area where the works are taking place. I'll draw a few cones around the area using the delineator tool. And obviously leaving some buffer space aside as well. And finally, I'll add in a few signs. Roadworks warning, speed limit, and roadworks end on the other side. I can now add in some plan annotations. I'll add a title box, a scale marker, a legend, and a manifest. So by this stage, with just a few mouse clicks, we have created a basic TMP drawn over a base map. It obviously doesn't conform to any motorway works regulations anywhere around the world, but for the purpose of this demonstration, it's good enough. So right now this looks ready to print. Let's see what happens when I open print preview. The maps are gone. The reason I showed you a base map plan printed without the maps was to highlight one very important factor of how the base map integration works in RapidPlan. The base map preview is not part of the diagram. It's a dynamic map control, just like the one you'd see in a web browser, set up to show exactly the area covered by the drawing canvas based on the plan location and scale we specified. In order to include these maps as planned background so that they're available when printing or when working in offline mode, we need to use the Import Aerial Photos tool. The easiest way to do this in our case is to right-click on the print region icon and import the photos from there, which instantly downloads them and lays them out as the planned background. Once I do that, I can disable the base map preview, and this doesn't affect the imported photos. If I now go back to print preview, I can see the output is just what I want, a simple plan drawn over a base map. Going back to the plan editor, let's have a look at the layers list. Any photos you import are added to the dedicated aerials layer, which ensures they're automatically laid out and always displayed at the very bottom of the plan, acting as its background. Other than for a specific print region, you can also import tiles for a custom area of the plan. If you go to Tools, Import Aerial Photos, this lets you select a custom area. Alternatively, when the aerials layer is currently selected, you can double click on specific locations on the plan to have individual tiles added where you need extra coverage. Because the aerial photos is a special layer that has to keep track of tile positions so that we know what parts we have covered, you can't move or otherwise transform the tiles. If you ever need to do this, for example, to create a separate section of the plan with a different scale, a detailed view, you have to copy and paste the tiles onto a different layer. So if I copy these and paste them over to layer 1, they become fully editable images, just like any images on our plan. So I can lay them out and transform however I like. Okay, so this pretty much covers the basic case where you only need to draw signs and devices over a map. In RapidPlan 3.0, the process is as simple as it gets. You specify plan scale and location, draw your stuff over a base map, import parts of the map you want included on the printouts, and that's it. We also have more advanced features that let you use maps integration to draw plans that won't be using actual maps as background. I have another sample plan here, this time drawn for works in a residential location in California. This is what it looks like with the base map preview disabled. These kind of plans take a little longer to draw, but they're more readable on printouts and can easily be faxed as well if you switch to the high contrast fax mode. The trick here is to use the base map as guide when drawing plan road layouts, and in this part of the tutorial I will be showing you how to do it for an intersection like the one here. Let's hide the roads layer for now and create another one so that we can reproduce this drawing step by step. Let's re-enable the base map preview as well so that we can see the part of the road that we will be drawing. The tool that will help us get started is the integrated roads import tool. I mentioned previously that we have a plain map provider available from OmniScale, and because it shows the center lines of roads, I'll use it as preview when importing the road layout. So as with aerial photos import, we have three different ways to specify what roads we want imported. We can either import all roads within a print region. We can specify a custom area to import via the tools menu, or we can select individual roads. So if I right click on a road, I can do import roads, and it gets imported onto my plan as a road object. I'll fetch the other road as well. So with this, a whole section of the road gets imported based on OpenStreetMap's community data. When I select the object, I can actually see some of the information the road was tagged with. In this case, it's the name, residential status, and a few other details. The main thing that's missing here is the road width, which unfortunately is not available in OpenStreetMaps. But once I have the road geometry, um, it's very easy to adjust its width by measuring the road over one of the aerial map providers. Let's switch to ArcGIS Maps again and do the measurements using the distance marker tool. Because both these aerials and the distance marker are synchronized based on the scale I've specified when creating this plan, the marker will automatically give me the accurate distance between 2 points on opposite sides of this road. And in this case, it tells me the road is about 11.5 meters wide. I can now select the road and specify the width using its properties. So 11.5 meters. And then I'll repeat the process for the other road. So use the distance marker again. I can see this road is slightly narrower at 11 meters. You can now see how these imported roads already match the base map fairly well, except at the intersection where I'll need to draw some manual adjustments. I'll use the road corner tool to cover the corners and the turn lane tool to adjust the slight inaccuracy at the bottom of the intersection over here. To make my corners match the road style, I will be using another new RapidPlan 3.0 feature, which is the ability to copy styles between objects. For details on this feature, please see the What's New in RapidPlan 3.0 tutorial. I'll copy the road style onto my corners and the turn lane. And now I can use the duplicate style tool on these objects to draw new objects of the same type, but already styled the way I want. But before I do that, let's make the current layer semi-transparent so I can see the background while drawing. Okay, so duplicate this corner, and the first corner goes here. And note how I'm tracing its edge over the base map preview so that it matches the intersection exactly. Then the same process is repeated with the other road corner. Finally, the turn lane will let me match the geometry of the bottom part of the T intersection. I'll draw a few control points. And then the turn lane lets me adjust the width at each point individually. So I can use that to match the curve visible on the base map. Let me get rid of the dummy objects I used for copying styles. And then while I adjust the layer transparency, you can see how the roads layout I traced over the base map is now fairly accurate. The remaining bits I'll need to add are the lane markings and the horizontal stop and warning signs. The method is essentially the same as with the roads. I'm using a semi-transparent layer to trace the markings over the visible basemap preview. So I'll use the lane marking tool and I can just trace over the map. So most of these markings are yellow. For the other ones, I'll have to switch to white. Okay, so finally, the horizontal signs. To keep this video short, I'll use the signs I'd previously copied to my Scratchpad. If you're not using the Scratchpad yet in your work, then you probably should be. You should definitely try it out. It's a great way to keep your most used tools handy at all times. So now the warning signs. And that's it, we're done. I can zoom out and adjust the layer transparency again to confirm that we were able to draw an accurate road layout using the Basemap preview, roads import tool, the distance marker for measurements, then adjust road widths and corners as required, and then finally add the surface markings on top of that. All this took only a few minutes. I can now disable the basemap preview and continue working on my TCP using this highly readable and printable mode while at the same time not giving up on scaling and overall accuracy. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial covering the integrated basemaps functionality in RapidPlan 3.0. We went through drawing plans using aerial photos as background, which is probably the easiest and quickest way to put together a traffic control plan. But we also tried out the more advanced road import features, which let you use base maps to create accurate and fully styled road layouts with regular RapidPlan objects. I hope you'll find that RapidPlan 3.0 and its new features can greatly improve the quality of your traffic management plans and reduce the time required to draw them. Make sure you check out the remaining tutorials in the RapidPlan 3.0 series, as there are plenty of other changes and additions other than the base maps. And as always, we're looking forward to your feedback. If you have any comments or suggestions, please send them to support@invariant.com. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.